Good morning and welcome to Smash Your Business. I'm Lubna Hamdan.
And I'm Farah Bashir.
How was your weekend, Farah?
Well, it was festive.
Festive?
Yeah.
How so?
I mean, I went to a party.
You went to a party? Nice. You made me feel like it's Christmas or something.
Oh, no. It was not like festive in that way. No,
we have Eid coming up though. That's quite festive.
Exactly. I mean, I'm really excited for Eid.
Eid al-Adha.
Yeah. I'm really excited for it.
Do you guys actually sacrifice? Well, not sacrifice is the wrong word. Do you follow the tradition of sacrificing the sheep?
Yes, of course. I mean, it's a tradition, you know what I mean? Like every Muslim
I just don't know how to say it in English.
I mean,
in Arabic, it sounds so different. In English, it sounds like we're actually sacrificing the sheep.
And it's actually called Eid al-Adha because Adha, it's from
Dahi, the word sacrifice.
You know what I mean? Like, which is sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we do. It's called sacrifice. Yeah.
I mean, everything in life is a sacrifice, isn't it?
I agree. I do agree with you guys. Yeah, I agree.
Ask me what I did on the weekend.
What did you do?
I flew to Jordan for
1 day.
For 1 day to renew my passport in the airport.
Okay.
Turns out I couldn't do that, so I had because my national ID had been expired because I hadn't been in Jordan in years. Luckily, I have the Jordanian passport, but they're becoming more and more stringent. And what I found interesting is that because the Jordanian passport is now becoming more and more powerful, we had the UK visa for free now not for free, sorry, on arrival, I think, or e-visa for Jordanians. And it's overall, it's out of the Middle Eastern countries of GCC aside and the UAE passport aside,
of course,
because that's very strong. The Jordanian passport is actually quite
strong.
Good.
Yeah,
it's quite good.
It is. But I mean, why take leave for 1 day and then come back and then go for leave again?
So I start my leave tomorrow. I did tell listeners that I wouldn't be here today. I decided to be here because
surprise, Lubna's here.
I just like to keep people on edge. 1 minute I'm in, 1 minute I'm out.
You'll never know.
You just never know if I'm going to be here after 2 weeks as well. Who knows? I'm kidding. I will be back after 2 weeks. So I will be back after Eid. And one more thing about Jordan. The office in the office in the airport that takes care of all of those procedures for the renewing the passport. I had my passport renewed after obviously getting my national ID renewed, which took ages. But in that office in the airport, it literally took them, I kid you not, 10 minutes.
No way.
10 minutes. Okay, 15 minutes. 15 minutes to renew my passport. It was incredible. I'm actually really, really proud of Jordan. And, Amman has a really up-and-coming F&B scene. They have a lot of startups that are now coming into the spotlights. They're raising a lot of money. There was a mental health app that raised millions of dollars just a couple of months ago 2 months ago, I think it was. So good on Jordan. It's still very conservative. Some people, a lot of women don't like to go out, walking in the street wearing skirts, wearing anything that's revealing. Obviously, you have the more, I would say, more open-minded and more kind of glamorous Christian communities.
That's true.
And stuff.
I don't know. I feel like because that has been implemented and embedded in the culture of Jordan, right? And in any country, like in any Arab country.
Yeah.
So it gets hard to diverse from that to something else,
Yeah.
But Jordan, I can confirm that it is actually getting really well.
True. Have you been to Amman before?
No, but it's on my list. I want to go.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. I have a lot of places on my list. Maybe I need a lot of money.
Amman is amazing. It's not cheap. I grabbed a taxi ride with a taxi driver from the airport, and he just was trying to marry me off to his son.
Oh,
it was incredible. He was smoking Winston's in the taxi. Got a really strong coffee. Got me a coffee as well, just from a small cafe by the side of the road. And I really miss that genuine raw kind of Arabian hospitality and just
I mean, one thing that can never be
Smoking Winston's in a
matched-
taxi.
I mean, something that can never be matched is the hospitality that's there, like in our home countries.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
something that you could never find.
Yeah, agreed. Right, we'll go through the headlines real quick. Expats are not the problem. Failed government systems are. That's according to a Kuwaiti politician. And then Riyadh and Kuwait are exploring. There's a new feasibility study that they've done for the high-speed train between those two countries. Sorry, Riyadh and Kuwait. Why did I write Riyadh and Kuwait? Anyways, obviously that's part of the wider GCC rail, but we'll talk about that as well. Emerging economies led by the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt are going to receive $903 billion inflows. And then in 1 week alone, I didn't quite believe this when I read it, so I had to double check that. Last week alone, Dubai saw $4.3 billion in real estate transactions. That's crazy. And then Saudi wants Wall Street to come to them. It's time. The tables have turned. I feel like we should play Usher's Turning Tables.
We should.
It's also
we should have
mildly
like sound
inappropriate.
effects.
It's a very inappropriate song, so maybe not. Instagram is under fire yet again for locking out Palestinian journalist Mu'taz Azaiza, who's an absolute legend. And then, stay tuned this time, he will be here. He is here. He's out right outside. Brent Jackson, the Chief Venues Officer at Ethara, which means thrill.
I mean, I've been honestly hearing how Lubna is really actually like talks about Ethara, wanting to interview
Brent?
Yes.
I came in today just for Brent Jackson. I came in just to interview him.
So that is why you guys saw Lubna.
So that is the only
Keep that in mind,
only reason.
Keep that in mind.
No, but cool. So we are gonna go to the first headline. I loved this clip when I saw it on social media. Mishari al-Ibrahim, Assistant Secretary General of the Kuwait Democratic Forum. And obviously Kuwait has always had, some issues with its parliament. A lot of people are very outspoken in Kuwait, which I love. And Kuwaitis, you always know when you meet a Kuwaiti because they're opinionated. They're not afraid to speak out,
100%.
Which I love. So he said basically in Al Rai TV, there was an interview, and he said blaming expats in Kuwait is just a distraction from the real problems that Kuwait has, which are primarily due to the failure of, government programs and gaps, in be it the jobs market, infrastructure, etc. We didn't put the full clip on. We didn't put the clip on Smashy Business, but I'll tell you guys a little bit more about it. He said, Kuwait has had an expat problem. For so long.
It's been honestly a while. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's not like the UAE and Saudi. It's not even like Qatar, right? I mean,
of course, you can never compare Kuwait to Qatar.
Yeah, I mean,
sure.
Getting a visa for your family if you're an expat in Qatar is already difficult. It's not that easy to set up businesses in Qatar as an expat. It's easier in Saudi and the UAE, but Qatar is something else.
No, that's for
Kuwait.
sure.
Kuwait is something else.
Yes.
So he said a lot of things. He said that expats typically take jobs basically that Kuwaitis don't take, and Kuwaitis are looking down at expats. He said it's kind of like a right-wing ideology. He said, and it's kind of like xenophobia in the West. So it was really. Strong words. He said the failures we see in hospitals and schools are not a result of the presence of expats in Kuwait. It's a result of failure in government planning and failure to include solutions in the government's program for existing problems.
Yes.
We remember, we don't remember, but we historically know that Kuwait one of the most advanced GCC countries, if not the most advanced. So Kuwait had the top schools, it had the best hospitals. You know, Kuwait was literally #1, and they actually had a lot of Palestinians in Kuwait.
True, yeah.
They had a lot of Palestinian doctors, Palestinian teachers. Now they're facing an issue, Kuwait, and they seem to have fallen behind, kind of, you know, stayed living in the past a little bit in terms of policies and not being as advanced as the UAE and Saudi.
I think honestly, you know, like sometimes when there's like when countries face an issue, they often put the blame on
Expats.
You know, expats. Other than expats, even sometimes, you know, they're residents. You know what I mean? They're residents, they're locals. And then they forget to actually look like deeper to the root issue, which probably can be, you know, like the planning, the government. What are they doing? There must be something. There must be something in the structure that is built that has not been done right, that caused all of that.
Yeah, I mean, he also said, let's not use this to cover up our own problems. It's right-wing rhetoric that we're used to seeing also in Europe and other countries. It's a xenophobic rhetoric. People from abroad are coming to create problems. You can see he's a little bit nervous while saying that on TV. If you guys see the clip, it's on Al-Rai or Al-Rai, I'm not sure which channel that is. Anyways, let's move on from that. But Kuwait is a very interesting study, I would say. Kuwait City to Riyadh. Apparently, discussions have sped up a little bit now. So in 2018, and then 2020, then 2022. I think we keep seeing this talk about the GCC rail. Kuwait had plans to launch its own metro as well. It scrapped that because of financial issues at the time and also problems that they had in their parliament, as I said. But there has been a feasibility study now. So Kuwait and Saudi have taken a significant step with this feasibility study towards a high-speed rail connection between these capitals. There's actually a lovely photo that I hope we use in our assets, but it's on our Smashy Business account if you guys want to check it out. It's of a Kuwaiti national having tea and reading a newspaper in what seems to be a very old train. Very, very nostalgic, very vintage, vintage style.
I mean,
interesting. Would you take this? Would you take this train ride?
Train? Oh yeah, absolutely, of course, for sure. You know, that it amazes me because like right now, I would say trains and metros and taxis, they are the talk of every country.
Yeah, transportation
it's
is
so big. It's so big and
being taken to new heights.
Yes, for sure. And the fact that honestly, like it's the fact that it's connecting like two countries.
So we have the Saudi, Kuwait, UAE, Bahrain, Oman, Qatar. They've been talking about their rail network since as early as 2004. It was originally scheduled to be completed to 2018, but then because of the oil prices suffered a setback. We do see some of that, advancing. We do see Etihad rail. So I think it's promising. The fact that these talks are, taking place again. I think it's very promising. Maybe one day we'll have our own Orient Express or something like that.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, as well, like honestly, at this point, when a GCC country says that they're going to do something, I know that it's going to be like top tier. They're going to do it and it's going to be like top tier. It's not going to be like any basic.
Well, it's good news. It's a nice segue to this. Emerging economies led by the UAE, Saudi, and Egypt will receive $903 billion in inflows. I love these numbers. The Institute of International Finance forecasts 32% increase in capital inflows to emerging economies, totaling that number that I just mentioned, which I don't want to repeat. So it's getting hot in here. I'm thinking about all this money.
The big numbers make Lebanon really hot.
That sounds a little bit wrong, but we'll let it slide.
Okay,
we'll let it slide.
Sorry. Never mind. That's not what I meant, but okay.
Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and the UAE are poised to attract 80%. That's a big number, but it's not surprising. 80% of the Middle East's capital inflows, fueled by major investments such as the UAE's $35 billion venture at Ras Al Hikma. Everyone is talking about Ras Al Hikma. So yeah, exciting news. The UAE, Saudi, and Egypt.
I think
what a holy trinity of success.
Literally, I think honestly, like those countries coming in together, nothing but great things will come out.
For sure. Right, real estate. There was a property finder, PF Connect last week. We talked about property, the property sector being a little bit of a cult in a good way, and this week, Dubai saw $4.3 billion in transactions, in real estate transactions. That's insane. It was by the way, data by the Dubai Land Department. Sorry, I was just thinking about the Property Finder event. So it was an increase of nearly $500 million compared to the previous week. I was thinking about that Property Finder event because it reminded me a little bit about, I remember years ago, I wrote a story about Tony Robbins, and it was a brilliant cover, and that's why I miss magazines, because you get that, the cover comes back from the printers, and I know, Richard likes to hate a little bit on old, tradition, media, and journalists, full stop. I feel like he loves and hates journalists at the same time. I don't even know how to explain it. But that feeling of, when a copy of the cover comes out of the printers and you're just holding it and you're looking at it and you're comparing cover to cover, it just has a different feel to just, posting on social media. It's just different. It feels more personal. It feels tangible.
I mean, I don't know. I come from because it's digital. You have to move,
with the times,
Absolutely. And the updates and so on.
Absolutely.
Of course,
Yeah, absolutely.
I wish I could relate, but I can't because I'm from the new generation.
I'll show you. We'll have a sit down once, and I'll show you all those covers
in
person. I still have those copies. So anyway, the cover was Tony Robbins. He had those sexual harassment allegations against him at the time. And we put the cover up, and I chose the headline. I like to. My ex-boss taught me this trick of when you want to choose a good headline, you choose song titles or movie titles.
Oh.
So the headline was "I'm Gonna Make You Love Me," and Tony Robbins is obviously known for these kind of cult-like events, right?
Okay.
These motivational. These motivational talks where he makes people jump up and down, and it's kind of like this, these workout videos that you that you see with the disco lights and the club lights and whatever.
Okay.
So the Property Finder event was not really like that, but it had the same vibe of community, belonging. Everyone was suited and booted. There was not a single person dressed casually, which was really nice to see, because I think people dress way too casually nowadays.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like right now, I think we're at the time where dressing casually can be is the thing. It's the thing. You know what I mean? People don't really dress up.
Yeah.
Unless it's like, I don't know, something, they go like, why would I dress up? I want to be comfortable.
Yeah.
People would choose to be comfortable rather than just like...
Yeah. Even to the opera, people don't dress up like they used to. But anyways, that's enough nostalgia for one episode. There were 4,000. Just so you guys know, let's get into the transactions a little bit. 4,239 sales transactions recorded in this past week. One of the most notable some of the most notable transactions was the sale of an apartment in Orla by Umniyat on Palm Jumeirah. We covered that actually for $13.5 million, and an apartment in BV Residences on Jumeirah Bay sold for $10.5 million. We spoke about the premium sales, real estate properties with Walid Shihabi last week, the ultra premium, the Four Seasons, the Baccarat Residences. It's beautiful. When I was in, I think I was in Moscow or Saint. No, I was in Moscow. I was gonna say Saint Pete, but no, I wasn't in Saint Petersburg. I was in Moscow a couple of years ago, and I saw a project for Armani residences there,
Okay.
and it looked very luxurious. And I'm going back to Moscow, so I'm gonna bring you guys all the news and see if Damak still owns that building in front of the next to the Kremlin.
I honestly thought
that's
that
a little
she would.
piece of gossip
I
for
thought
you
that you'd be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna invest and buy an apartment.
Oh, invest.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet, Farah, but
You never know.
I love that you believe in me that much.
Yeah,
so
I do.
thank you. So yeah, Damak apparently have a building in front of the Kremlin. I'm not sure they were meant to sell it. Damak were meant to sell it. I'm not sure if they sold it yet or not. So I'll look into that for you guys a little bit. The PIF is joining a government effort to bring Wall Street to Riyadh, bring Wall Street firms to Riyadh. The PIF now includes language in its documents to potential service providers, specifically inquiring if they have obtained a regional HQ license in Saudi Arabia. That HQ move was such a smart one from Saudi.
Honestly, at this point, I feel like
very, very, very in line with MBS.
literally. I mean, honestly, I don't know, but to want Wall Street in Saudi, that would be like,
yeah.
like the
yeah.
It's gonna be like khalas, you know, like it's gonna be like, oh yeah, let's all move to Saudi.
Yeah, I mean, it's, we've been talking about this for a while, that the wealth funds now have more negotiating power. They just have more power because
That's true.
Because, it's where the money is at, and Wall Street wants money, and the West wants money, and they don't want to give them their money away for free anymore.
That's
they don't
true.
want to just invest it outside. They want to invest it in-house, and it's getting funds everywhere a little bit, companies everywhere a little bit concerned about it. They're getting concerned about it, but it's
I mean, honestly, to be honest with you, if Wall Street would be in Saudi Arabia, that would be the most exciting thing ever, because they're going to be opening up even more and more. I would say they would not, because like we know that, like fine, like Saudi Arabia is not the Saudi Arabia that we know, but Wall Street being there is just going to be like the cherry on top.
Yeah, agreed. Mu'taz Azza is an award-winning journalist from Gaza, and really such a powerful voice, who has, from the start been reporting on everything from the ground. Really the definition of one person can make a difference.
Sure.
He's been locked out of his Instagram account again. I don't know what time, like how many times have they locked him out of their account, Meta? It's just really, anyways,
so many
people
times,
are calling it out. He said, I'm unable to log into my Instagram. The account still, and you can see the account still, but I can't use it or log in from my side. And that was brought to the attention of a law professor, Khalid Beydoun, who's divisive by himself, like divisive in his own right. Some people are saying Khalid Beydoun allegedly raises money for a cause and then uses that money for himself. They're big allegations. We don't know if they're true. Somebody should probably look into them. Could be us. But the point is, Khalid Beydoun, has quite a large platform. And again, that's the point that we were talking about yesterday is any platform, any awareness right now is good awareness, and
of course,
and that's what we need. Instagram has become a battleground for citizen journalism and advocacy. Not just citizen journalism, because Mu'taz is actually a photojournalist, but it's really become such a political platform, hasn't it?
I mean,
Instagram.
Yeah, it is a platform, and as well we know, like with the generation that is on Instagram, is not easy to deal with. It's not easy to please. So like it is, yes, as you said, like it's very political, and everyone has a voice, everyone has an opinion. But as well, your life, like what I mean is that this generation will probably feel entitled to your life and will probably feel entitled to the things that you post and not post.
Yeah, we were talking about that as well with Walid Shahabi, in that bullying used to be in person in school on the ground, and now bullying has,
on social media,
migrated to the digital world. But it's so much worse online.
That's
It's,
true. Yes.
So much worse than in person, right?
Because it's easier to just like be behind a computer or a phone and just like write mean stuff, and
you actually have to have guts to bully someone in person.
And exactly, like
whereas
I'm
online,
like if I'm not gonna look at someone and be like, oh yeah, by the way, you're like whatever, you know what I mean? But behind the computer, I'd be like, you are a, and it would be by the way with perfect grammar, perfect, you know what I mean? It's easier.
Yeah, true. We saw that topic discussed in the Rawabi Girls for School by Tima Shomali. She is wonderful, by the way. She started in comedy. She had the female show, which was so funny and lovely. So yeah, that's it. That's it for the news segment. Stay with us, guys, for the Chief Venues Officer, Brent Jackson of Ethara, up next. Okay, Brent Jackson, welcome to the studio. How do you like it? Because we had this on Zoom, or we attempted to have this on Zoom.
Way better.
Way better.
Yeah,
right?
way better. I think it's better to be in person. I mean, we're so used to doing online things now, but face to face, I still think there's nothing like it, to be honest.
And what is it like being in Dubai? Because you're based in Abu Dhabi.
We're based in Abu Dhabi on Yas Island, so we're not far. We come down probably once a week or every other week for meetings. So, we work together closely on so many things. So it's a second home for us.
Yeah. Is it more exciting in Dubai or Abu Dhabi? I'm just trying to get you in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, we have an office in Dubai as Ethara, so we do quite a bit of business here as well. But for me, I've always lived in Abu Dhabi, so the excitement for me is what we do and the events we put through Yas Island specifically. So
right.
I'm an Abu Dhabi guy, but I love Dubai as well.
Yeah. I mean, Abu Dhabi is also a little bit nostalgic as well, right? Because it retained a lot of that, traditional kind of vibe. I would say. Let's sound a little bit cooler for the younger audiences.
I think that's the right way to say it
today for the vibe. So you're the Chief Venues Officer.
That's right.
Of Ethara.
Yep.
Ethara is a merger between Flash Entertainment and Abu Dhabi Motorsports Management. Right. I remember Flash Entertainment from years ago. They were really making strides, and everybody was talking about them. But Chief Venues Officer, it's not a title that you hear very often. Obviously, in Ethara's case, it makes absolute sense. But we used to view venues quite differently, and it's really changed. Tell us a little bit about what it means, what Ethara means, and why it's important for these venues to kind of, what the importance of these venues really, because Yas Island was built around these venues and these experiences.
Yep, it's a great question. So you're exactly right. Ethara is kind of new and exciting, 1 year old, but it's really the merger of two stalwarts of Abu Dhabi entertainment. So both 15-year-old companies, ADMM, which most people know better as kind of the managers and operators of Yas Marina Circuit and the F1 in Abu Dhabi, and then Flash, as you mentioned, doing the events. So everyone knew the event side of Flash, which is the concerts, all the big events, everything that you see. But another big side of both the companies was their venue management and venue operating arm. So in the case of Yas Marina Circuit, for ADMM, and then on the Flash side, we had the Do Forum and the Do Arena originally, which is now Etihad Park, the great outdoor venue, and the Etihad Arena. So really what my role is and what our team does is kind of looks after specifically the venues. And as you say, they play a huge role in any developing country, in any market that's trying to get, major events and entertainment. And it's all about, how can you bring these things to your city? Well, it's having permanent venues and it's having them managed correctly. So what we do is kind of look at all aspects of the venue, from commercialization to booking to ticketing, anything that kind of touch point to the guests and experience is so important to us. And there's a venue manager behind any venue that you go to, whether it's a multi-purpose arena like ours, Etihad Arena on Yas, or a convention center. So what I do is sort of look after that venue management side.
How exciting is it?
It's very exciting.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
It's equally tricky, right? Because I would personally, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the success of a venue is almost like the success of a restaurant, in that you have to create that atmosphere, and it's really hard to do that, because how many restaurants have we seen open and shut down because there was just no vibe, as the younger generation would say, no atmosphere. How do you deal with that? Because you obviously do get that point right.
It's so important to have, we kind of call it vibe, I think is the best way to put it, as you say, but it's kind of the customer experience, or all of those touch points that people see, whether it's parking, food and beverage, in arena entertainment, being able to interact with social media or giveaways and things like that. So in every single meeting we have, we talk about the guest experience and all the touch points that we're going to have to give people kind of a good experience as opposed to a negative one. So I think as the venue, even though the events are brought in by a lot of different promoters, we as the venue have the responsibility of making sure it's a consistent experience every time people come to the venue. And we try really hard to do it. If you come to the F1, you see, we spend hours and hours making sure that every single interaction, every single guest has a wow moment when they come to the venue.
I remember years ago, I interviewed Mansour bin Jabir, Abu Dhabi based. He's now traveling the world. Shout out Mansour if you're hearing me. He's island hopping somewhere, which is a great problem to have.
Yep.
But he said there was he had investments at the time in several F&B outlets, and he said years ago that the main problem in the Yas Marina is that the F&B atmosphere is just not there, and that's the wider F&B problem in Abu Dhabi. And do you see that in your venues? Do you see that momentary success with these, with events and venues? How do you keep it sustainable? Is my question. And how has it changed over the years? Because it has changed in Abu Dhabi. It's definitely much better now. You have the Zumas and the LPMs.
Yep. We work really closely with specifically all the restaurants and locations in retail around Yas Bay, if you've been to Yas Bay or Yas Marina, which, as you said, in the last few years has, I think, become one of the kind of hip hot spots in Abu Dhabi for sure, but even in the UAE. So you see a ton of restaurant chains coming in. We work very closely with them to do pre-event specials, post-event parties, experiences. So one thing, venue responsibility is to really, I would say, ingrain itself into the community and into the neighborhood, which in our case is to drive people to Yas Bay. So we really spend a lot of time. We have a great in-arena experience when it comes to F&B, but for the name brand restaurants and stuff, it's our relationships pre and post-event and driving people to those assets. It's very important to work together with your neighbors instead of trying to take the business and compete.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a worry at some point with these events that it was really expensive for be it F&B or brands to collaborate, to get those food trucks to, whatever it is. How is it now? Is it changing? Are you making it easier generally for those collaborations to happen to attract more people? How's it going? Because you guys have to, break even as well, and
exactly.
And that's difficult.
Everybody needs to be commercial. Our goal at the end of the day is to have a commercial experience, but also a really high guest experience and score. So it is challenging. It's not easy, but we work every day to try and make sure the prices are in line with the market, competitive, and to make sure that we, have specials and things like that. I've really seen kind of the prices, I think, get much more realistic in the last couple of years. So we do a good job of trying to make sure we realize that it's expensive to come to a show. So the experience around it needs to be, valuable as well and in line.
I was just speaking to a friend of mine the other day, and she said, I'm flying out for the weekend. And I said, oh, where are you going to? She said, I'm going to Greece to see the Coldplay concert. A lot more people are traveling to see concerts. Are you seeing that here as well?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't have the specific statistics, but a lot of our shows recently, when we look at those demographics afterwards, are coming from the region, are coming from the UK and Europe. For the right shows and for the big names, we see it a lot. And it's so important to us us in Abu Dhabi that we are showcasing, the ability to get in and out of the city, the world-class airport that's just been built, the hotels that are coming up everywhere. So we work very closely with Morale on Yas Island and the Department of Tourism and Culture to make sure that that's such an important packaging around each event, so that it's easy to not only buy the ticket, but it's very easy to come and stay and play, all around the city while you're here.
I mean, it's very important, and it's incredible how Abu Dhabi has really rebranded itself, specifically Yas Island.
Yep.
The Ryan Reynolds, Chief Island Officer. I think he's the best one so far because he has a marketing company. Tell us about the challenges, and then we'll talk about the opportunities and what next, and what you have coming up. But the challenges, we did see a lot of venues. I'll talk here in Dubai.
Yep.
The theme parks, the projects that never got built. What differentiates you? What is that? And what are the real challenges? Is it the commercial aspect? What is it?
I think for us, we kind of say across the board, it's about partnerships. It's about making sure at the level when we're getting into venue management is making sure we have the right partners. So I think it's making sure that the time is right for the place and the location, and then we really focus on venue management. So it's getting and supporting the owners or the developers that want to build the venues, and making sure that they're built with the versatility and the right things to host as many shows as possible. But for us, it's really partnering with the right people.
I don't know if it was Mahmoud or somebody else, but you're very well media trained.
Thank you.
I'm really enjoying this, but
thank you.
I'm trying to get a little bit of info out of you. But no, jokes aside, I'm really enjoying this conversation.
Great.
Tell me, what do you have in store for us?
So for us, the biggest news that I can kind of say is we've done a partnership with Oakview Group. So it's a joint venture, and I was kind of leading to that with the partnerships. And if you kind of read through Oakview Group, they're the biggest and largest venue operator and developer really now in the world. They've gone into really building venues. So the exciting thing for us is moving regionally. You really want that international partner and impact, and there's no better in our industry than Oakview Group. So all existing partnerships and venues, and really as we expand in the Middle East, we'll be doing that together. So basically, we'll be looking to take over management of not only venues here in UAE first, which is the priority, but also regionally as well. So it's a big expansion for us, because as you get the network of venues around, it's much easier to tour large artists and bring someone to multiple cities instead of one.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So that's the biggest news, I guess I can say. That's breaking news as well. So
that is breaking. Thank you for giving me that. Okay, I take the media training comment back. I take it back. I'm very, very happy.
I tried to give you something there.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
It was the world to Abu Dhabi. Now it's Abu Dhabi to the world.
That's it.
What are we going to see from that partnership? What can you give us a little bit more specifics?
Yeah, I mean, the exciting part is we're in so many great conversations here about some new venues that are potentially developed, and some awesome opportunities in the region, specifically KSA. I think I'm sure you've seen it or talked about it on the show, but the developments there are unbelievable. So we're talking to all of the big projects there. Want to support as early in the game as possible, so that the arenas get built, with the right attributes and the right kind of features to host as many events as possible. But really, it's all about nothing specifically on the radar, but there's a lot of big things in the pipeline, especially considering the development in the region. It's a super exciting time to be here.
Thank you for mentioning that. It's a great segue to what I like, the point that is seems to be repeating itself across industries, from crypto to AI to events and venues and venue management. Everyone is coming to this region, whether it's tightening regulations in the US, and that's what's pushing them here, or really just a much better experience in terms of the event experience here compared to other parts of the world. What can you tell us about that? Because it's really taking it to a whole other level. The Saadiyat Cultural District as well, which we see everybody talking about that as well. It's extremely exciting. What can you tell us about from your
the experience. Yeah, I would say the first thing I will say is, and this is very much a positive thing, but the expectations are super high here. So not only for our clients, but also the consumers. People want to come and see something different. They want wow. Whereas I think you can get away with kind of having just a normal event experience in some of our other markets. You can't do it here. We have to be constantly changing, constantly partnering with new things, as you say, pop-up food trucks or whatever it is. You know, there has to be a wow factor that keeps people coming back. You mentioned Saadiyat. I mean, Saadiyat Nights was a visionary program that launched last year from the Department of Culture and Tourism. We partnered as Ethara to help operate and run the venue, but it had huge names in an awesome purpose-built venue right around the museum district on Saadiyat. So it's about doing fresh things, you know. So we really want permanent venues, but you also want those cool pop-ups as well. So it's just making sure that the experience is new and fresh. I think that's what people want.
Absolutely. It's become Abu Dhabi very much the, you know, people used to always come to Dubai too. I remember because my sister-in-law and her friends would always come from Abu Dhabi. She lives there. They would always come to Dubai, but now everybody is going to Abu Dhabi, whether it's for Dave Chappelle or Yas Island or to have a staycation or whatever it is. What other trends do you see in the future? Tell me a little bit about your predictions for Abu Dhabi in the future, and will we see how high will the numbers go with all these new projects as well?
I mean, I think for Abu Dhabi, the sky's the limit. Exactly what you just said. I mean, you know, and you were talking about it earlier as we were watching the show with transportation and trains and all these different things coming. I mean, it just becomes easier and easier to get to these different places, whether it's Dubai to Abu Dhabi or around the region. So my thought is we're going to really start seeing in the future, and I really wish for this, is events that can kind of tour 5 or 6 different cities, just like they would back home, because what that opens us up to in our industry is a completely different game, you know, when it comes to the financials and commercials. So I'd love to see more, we call it regional routing or regional touring. So my hope for the very soon future is that we'll start to see, you know, multiple events staying in the region longer, playing all these different cities and venues around the place, and hopefully multiple nights in our cities as well. So as it grows, that's the intention for sure.
Absolutely. And one thing before I ask you about the partnership and the events in Saudi, for example, one really nice thing, I don't know if I'm sure you've noticed it, is in Abu Dhabi the hotel rooms are so much bigger and you get so much more value.
No one actually mentions that, but it's so true.
Nobody mentions that. It's incredible, really. I mean, it's just like there's no comparison when compared to the hotel rooms here in Dubai, which are beautiful, but
of course
you get those older hotels as well, and you still get the ashtrays in the lobbies, and you know you can't smoke in the lobbies, but you still get the ashtrays
nostalgic
there,
feel of
the nostalgic feel.
That's awesome.
Everyone keeps telling me to live in the future, but I refuse to live in the present. Sorry, but I refuse.
You like to still stay there sometimes.
Some nostalgia.
You have to have a mix of both. I think.
You do. Agreed. Right. The events in Saudi. Any specific area in Saudi? Is it going to be Riyadh? Is it going to be Al Ula? I'm just trying to get a little bit. I'm curious about the types of events.
So specifically on my side, it'll be more of the venues. So it's all about the new developments, really. I mean, you're going to see awesome, amazing developments where we don't have anything specific yet, but amazing venues coming up in Qiddiya and Diriyah Gate. Development. You mentioned Al Ula. There's a lot. Seven, which is a huge company there, has just announced putting some awesome entertainment centers around the country. So we would love to be partners and support them on the management side of these venues. So I'd say everywhere is the answer. I mean, Saudi just has so many cities that have population enough to have some sort of venue. So it's making sure you get the scale right, the right size venue. But I think the answer is multiple cities in KSA, not just Jeddah and Riyadh where you hear everything happening.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what's incredible? I was thinking about the Qatar World Cup where everyone was worried about there not being alcohol. But everyone went and they really enjoyed it and everyone was talking about it. Do we need alcohol at these venues, or is that going to be another, you know, people are starting to drink less, people are going for, you know, non-alcoholic beverages?
I think that's the answer right there. You can do partnerships with anything. I mean, the myth that you have to have a licensed venue in order to have a huge VIP experience, I think that's out the window in this region. You can have an amazing hospitality, high-end experience without that need. So I think that's the most important thing. I won't go as far as to saying it shouldn't be there in certain venues because it does track different markets to shows, but the high-end hospitality areas are thriving in the region right now without. So I think it's having that right mix and making sure it's tastefully done. To be honest, that's my opinion.
I like that sophistication and
I think so.
refinement.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Brent Jackson, Chief Venues Officer at Ethara. I had a blast. I had a really
good time too, and I hope I opened up a bit as we got through.
So. You did. You really did, and it's a really exciting topic. And thank you for that. Thank you for that scoop as well.
Awesome. Have a great day.
Thank you. You guys know the drill. For the video version, get us on Smashy.tv or get us wherever you get your podcasts. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. And then Farah will be taking care of you for the time when I'm not here. So I'll miss you guys, and I'll see you in 2 weeks' time.